Pillow talk, yeah. Pillow talk, pillow talk. Pillow talk, pillow talk.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we want to welcome you to another episode of Pillow Talk Lounge. We're your host. I'm James Green, and this is my lovely wife, Cynthia Green.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hey, y'all. How's everybody doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Yes, this is the last Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Right.
So I just want to start off by saying Happy Thanksgiving. And I got a question for y'all. How many of y'all started cooking your Thanksgiving dinner already? Me.
And you know, Thanksgiving is that time of year when, you know, you're thankful for a lot of things.
Mhm.
And I know for us, our tradition is we actually, before we eat, you know, partake in the meal, we go around and let everybody say what they're thankful for.
On Thanksgiving
Day at dinner. That's what I said, but when we're at the table going around, you know, and you hear some things and you'll be surprised some of the things you hear that people, you know, your family actually what they're thankful for, you know, and a lot of stuff I believe that we take for granted, you know, because you're thankful that you got up in the morning, you know, you're thankful that you have breath in your body, because trust me, there's some people that didn't, you know, you're thankful that you have a roof over your head, shoes on your feet, food on the table. These are some of the type of things you may take for granted, you know? So when you go around the table and everyone says what they're thankful for, you know, a lot of people say, I'm thankful for family. And I look at that as, well, you're born into your family. You can't pick your family. You're born into them.
The truth.
So, you know, family sometimes has issues, but that's something you can't get rid of. You're born into them. That's something you can help.
Right. So yeah. So what do you guys have any family Thanksgiving traditions? Right. Like, what are some things that you guys do at Thanksgiving time that I'd like to hear about? Because I've heard people say things like, okay, for instance, I belong to an organization, but even when I was on my job, we would give Thanksgiving turkeys, you know, or at church collect turkeys and food baskets, a whole meal for families to give away and things of that nature. But in your home, what are some of your family's Thanksgiving traditions? Right. Now, when Christmas comes around, we'll talk about some Christmas traditions. Right. There's a whole bunch of those that I like to do for my family. I'll tell you a family tradition that we do besides saying thanks around the table. So I do it for Christmas and Thanksgiving. And so this year I'm trying to debate which one I'm going to do. But I make my family blueberry muffins for breakfast. My husband, you know what? Don't start. He always says,
no. That's because when she makes them, sometimes she'll forget about them because she's cooking the rest of the dinner. And sometimes they're a little, I ain't going to say burned, a little charred, a little overdone. And it's funny that it happened maybe 2 or 3 years in a row.
It didn't happen last year.
It didn't happen last year. But as it happened 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 years in a row, we looked at that as a tradition that, okay, we have burnt blueberry muffins. So last year, she didn't burn them. And I was like, wait a minute, what happened to the tradition? You went in another direction. You kept an eye on them. You took care of them.
But that's because I'm the only one in the kitchen cooking, and I'm trying to do so many things at one time that I forgot the muffins were in the oven because I'm so busy over there frying bacon, cooking grits, making eggs, and still also prepping stuff for dinner that evening. I mean, like, I have a lot of things going on.
And, you know, and when I think of being thankful, it makes me think of my brother, you know, who lives back in Philadelphia, because every Thanksgiving, he goes and feeds the homeless or goes to the shelter and does that. Just like voting, he goes and drives older people to the voting polls. That's something Daryl always does. And I'm thankful because that's something I can't say that I do, but he does it. So he likes to give thanks by giving back that way.
That's right. So today's topic is generosity, gratefulness, and I didn't put the NESS on there. Sorry, y'all. Giving and grandma's cooking. All right. So we've already talked a little bit about traditions, which is kind of like, you know, the things that we do, a lot of that is
Right.
generosity, you know, like donating turkeys and donating
Right.
food baskets.
And I was just saying, and you talked about the cooking. When you think of grandma's cooking, even though I know there's people out there that maybe, you know, the grandma might have passed on, but they took maybe what she made and carried that tradition on.
Oh, yes.
As far as, okay, I'm gonna make homemade biscuits. As my grandmother started that, she gave me the recipe, so I'm gonna carry that tradition on.
Is anybody like me? I miss my grandma. Like, I miss my grandma. I still every grandma. Now, how do you make your sweet potatoes pies again? What do you put in them? And grandma was like, you know, I don't measure nothing. And I'm like, I know, grandma, just to walk me through it. And so she'd be like, put a little pinch of salt.
I was just say, grandma would
would
say a little pinch.
And
What's
as
a
she
pinch?
said, I'm pulling my items out of the cabinet, but then I'll look it up to get the measurements. And then
What's
also
a pinch?
like a pinch of salt is a pinch of salt. Okay, I get that part. But then also like she used to tell me how to make the homemade banana pudding. I wish I had literally written down every detail that she gave me, but I do pretty much have it down, but my family doesn't like banana pudding, so I don't get to cook it. And
I wish I would have got my grandmother's homemade root beer.
Oh my gosh.
Because my family who lives in Pennsylvania, we went upstate. We went up there to visit them, and they had this homemade root beer. And I didn't know. They said, well, we got it from Nana. I'm like, wait a minute. Nana used to make that? Because I didn't remember that. And they said, and it was, I'm sorry, I'm not a root beer fan,
either.
But that root beer,
yes, it
oh
was.
My God. I wish I knew how to make that.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how to make. You know, I'm going to try to call them.
They did
and get that recipe.
Job. They did it. So what's your favorite thing that grandma used to cook? All right. So what is your favorite dish?
I want to say the
or
favorite
that grandma
dish.
Still cooks. A lot of people do still have a grandma.
Or if they don't, the favorite dish that grandma used to cook that now you cook and you carry on that tradition.
That's a good one, because I still make my grandma's sweet potato pies. I wish I got my grandma's biscuit recipe. Oh, my grandma made the best biscuits in the entire world. I don't even eat biscuits anymore because nobody makes them like grandma. They don't. I'm telling you.
And now when you think of giving, it reminded me of my brother who's giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. You know, that is giving from the heart. That is saying, you know, I'm able to do it, so I want to give back to those maybe less fortunate. You know, I'm in that position. So that giving is giving back. That's giving of your time.
So this is a relationship show. So I want to say this. So, you know, most times, and there are husbands who do the cooking, so it's going to go either way. So most times I'm the one in the kitchen doing all the cooking for Thanksgiving. So when I think about giving, I would love if my family would give back by coming in the kitchen and helping me do some cooking this year, okay? So my husband don't have to cook, but come in and help me. If I ask him to chop up the celery, chop up the onions, no thanks. But he knows how to do it. He can do it. But you know what? This year I would like some help because I don't want to be in the kitchen all day long on Thanksgiving while everybody else is sitting around enjoying the game.
Right. So if you think about it, giving, and like Cynthia said, being marriage and relationships, are you giving of your time? Are you giving what your spouse or what your mate needs? Are you giving them that? You know, have you actually asked them, you know, what can I do to help you? What can I do for you? I want to give to you.
Are you going to ask me that this year while I'm in the kitchen?
We'll see. But
so you can't tell other people to do it if you're not willing to do it.
But the thing is giving them what they need. That's how you build a strong marriage and relationship, by giving them what they need. You know, Cynthia and I usually talk about filling up your love tank. How do you fill up your spouse's or your mate's love tank? By giving them what they desire, giving them what they need. You know, when you think of the Bible, it says God will give you the desires of your heart. Meaning not only will he give you things that you need, he may give you everything that you want if you just ask. Mm-hmm. So the key is giving. And that's the key, to give. What do you get? You know, I ain't gonna mention Christmas because it makes you think how when Christmas time comes around, Cynthia goes and gets a whole bunch of ones. And you know how you see them Salvation Army kettles? Whenever we go somewhere and she sees one, she puts $1 in each one. You know, and that's
more
giving.
than $1 sometimes.
Right.
But
But
that
to
starts
spread it out,
around
'cause you
Thanksgiving. They're probably out now. They
You think
start
so?
coming out right around Thanksgiving. Yeah. They
But
can't wait
that's
till
what it is.
Christmas.
It's about giving, maybe giving to what your spouse needs, giving to the less fortunate, giving of your time, giving of your presence. You know, we know a lot of people may work and, you know, you don't spend a lot of time at home, and then your spouse or your mate may say, well, I don't see you much anymore. Maybe you need to give them more of your presence.
Right. So, what are you giving this year? What are you giving to your spouse? What are you giving to your community for Thanksgiving?
For your family, right?
Yeah, for your family. And so, I know, like, I belong to this organization, American Mothers Incorporated. I belong to the national chapter and my local Maryland chapter, and we are actually going to be donating to the American Veterans Retirement Home, something like that. And so we're going to be giving all kinds of items that they need: clothing, things, music, wallets, all kinds of things like that. So we're going to be giving. I'm going to be giving for that, but I'm also going to be giving for Moms Motivating Moms and the RG3 Foundation for Christmas. So, you know, we want you guys to start thinking about, you know, a lot. I'm going in so many different directions here. A lot of times we are not raised to give, to donate, to serve. But that's what life is all about.
Sure,
you know,
is.
we're real good at it when a big disaster comes, when it's a snowstorm or a hurricane, tornado, things of that nature. But it's a habit that we should get into on a regular basis. And I'm not just talking about the community, also in giving and serving your spouse, like we were talking about just a moment ago.
And when you also talk about giving, baby, you know, there's a lot of organizations now like Toys for Tots. And, you know, this is that time of year. That's why we brought this topic up about being grateful and the cooking, because this is that time of year, you know, and giving is such a key. You know, I look at it as, what did God do? God gave his only begotten son to us.
Yes, he
did. To save us. So if he can do that for us, we could do that for someone else, maybe less fortunate. You know, that's why giving is so important. And like Cynthia said, when you bring up giving to your spouse, you know, because there's a lot of couples out there that may need a little help. But do they go to each other and say, baby, what can I do for you? What can I give you?
Right. And you know what it makes me think about, babe? A lot of times when we're coaching and counseling couples, a lot of times it's the wife who's very dissatisfied, very unhappy. And men don't get it, that the wife really just wants you to support them in some kind of way, like do something for them to show that you see them, that you see them, you know, that you want to be there for them, that you want to help them, that you see them working so hard, you know, with the house, with the children, with the cooking, with the cleaning, all of that. And they just want you to give a little something, and mostly it's giving of yourself, like you said.
And that's what I said, because I always say, you know, you need to give your spouse presents. And I'm not talking presents as in gift. I'm talking about giving your presence, you maybe just being there, you know, just sitting down, talking to them. So give them presents.
So what are you giving your spouse?
Right.
Like around your house, what do you give your spouse?
Or what do you need? What can your spouse give you that you need?
Yeah. So we want to hear from you guys. Type it in the chat. Oh, we got a comment. So what do you give your spouse, or what does your spouse give you on a regular basis that makes you happy? Oh, Deborah says, Thanksgiving is my best holiday, and to see what everyone really thinks of what they are thankful for. Oh, see, that's so really good. So I don't know if you were on, Deborah, but we were saying at our Thanksgiving table, everybody shares what they're thankful for.
We go around the table before we eat and what they're thankful for. A lot of people will say family, but like I said, you're born into your family. I mean, maybe you're thankful that they're not mean and nasty or that, you know, you have a loving family, you know, but people say, I'm thankful for my family. I don't usually say that. I usually say I'm thankful for my extended family, because my regular family I'm born into, they're going to be there. You know, I'm thankful for the family I married into, how they treat me. You know, when I say family, that's what I'm talking about, my extended family, because my mother has passed. So I'm thankful for Cynthia's mother, because now that's the only mother I have, my mother-in-law. And I'm thankful for her that she treats me like a son, like her son. Yes. You know, so when you talk about family, that's what I'm thankful for when I mention family, my extended family, you know. But when we're talking about giving, that's what we'd like to know. What does your spouse or your mate give you that you need or
What
that
would
you
you like
desire?
them to
What would you
give?
like them to give you?
Yes.
Because we talk to a lot of couples and say, well, he doesn't give me what I want and he's not there for me.
He don't pay
Have you
me
talked to
attention.
him or her and asked them what
Or
they can give to you?
Tell them. You know, so many times when we talk to couples, like we communicate, we talk all the time.
Right.
But do you tell them what you really
need? You know,
need, what you're thinking, how you're really
right.
feeling?
And that leads me into Christmas, which we know that's a month away. But when we talk about presents, gifts, not giving of your presents, we're talking about physical gifts. They say he bought me or she bought me something I didn't even want. But have you made a list? Have you told them what you want? You know, that's something sitting down, and we'll probably go more into this Christmas time. That's something we talk about. Make a list of the items you really want.
I made mine.
So when Christmas time comes, birthday, anniversary, whatever it is, they can pick items from that list, and it's always something you want because you wrote the list.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what we're giving is something that you would need or something that you want because you wrote it. Not just giving, like, for example, I can go buy Cynthia a fishing rod and said, I gave you a gift. You should be happy that I gave something to you. But she don't fish. What's she going to do with it? Put it in the closet and let it sit there? See, that's what we're talking about. Maybe the two of you need to sit down and talk about what you can give each other in this season. You know, what you need, what you want, what you desire, the desires of your heart. Baby, here's what I need. Here's what you can give me.
Right.
You know, it's about giving. And this is that time of year when you're giving out of love. You're giving from the heart. You're giving what your spouse or what your mate really needs and really wants. So, you know, you could be on the same page. So it's good to talk about it and tell them.
Right. So then the last one of our G's for the month of November is grateful.
Oh, I love grateful.
Me too.
Because there's so many things I'm grateful for. And, you know, just like you can be grateful for a roof over your head, shoes on your feet, food on the table. I mean, I think that's a song. Hezekiah Walker. Yeah, I didn't think of it. I wasn't thinking of this song, but they say that in a song. I'm grateful for, you know, roof over my head, shoes on my feet, food on the table, right? Things you're grateful for. So just think that God sent you that mate, that spouse. Are you grateful for that? Do you treat them with gratitude that they came into your life? They may have came into your life at the right time when you really needed it. Or they came into your life and helped you in a situation where it brought you out of that, you know, that you were in. And you're grateful for that. So if you treat your spouse or your mate with that gratitude that God sent them to you, God put them in your life, you can have a great marriage or a great relationship because you're treating them with that gratitude that God sent them to you.
Absolutely. So share with us what you're grateful for this season. Thanksgiving is less than a week away.
And I know,
what are you grateful for?
Right. And everybody could say the thing, I'm grateful that I have a home to live in. I, you know, I can buy groceries. I have food. You know.
As a matter of fact, what are you grateful for that you got in 2022? Like this year's almost over. What have you been grateful? What are you grateful for that happened to you this year? That you received this year? That you felt this year? Right. That you did this year? That someone did for you this year? What are you grateful for? Share it in the chat. We want to know. What are you grateful for? Let the world know. Let that person know. If you're grateful for something that someone truly did for you or gave you, showed you, helped you with, let them know that you're truly, truly grateful.
And when I think of being grateful, it made me think of yesterday. Cynthia and I were on a broadcast yesterday, and we talked about how, you know, all of our marriage, going on 16 years, we haven't argued. We haven't really fought, you know. I'm grateful that we don't argue. I'm grateful that she gives me that.
Heated discussions, though.
She's fussy. I'm grateful that you give me that love and respect that I need, you know, because we always talk about how women may need love, men need respect. But if you give that to them, are you grateful that they're giving that to you? You know, I'm grateful because she gives me not only that love, but that respect that I need and I deserve. And that builds for a marriage where we don't argue. you know, because she gives that to me. And I'm so grateful for that. And that's where giving and grateful goes together. She's giving me something that I'm grateful for.
And I'm grateful for the quality time that he gives me, that he actually spends time with me. I get so tickled when I'm in here in my office working during the day. He's downstairs in the basement working, and I look up, and here he comes strolling into my office, right? So, you know, he comes up here to chit chat with me, talk. A lot of times it's like, what's for lunch?
And I'm grateful she makes lunch.
I don't always.
You sure don't.
But I'm just grateful that we do a lot of things together. As a matter of fact, we do almost everything together. So I don't have to look for my time. I get my time. So I'm really grateful for that.
But here's the thing, that what we were talking about just a little earlier, that if I don't give her that, she will tell me, baby, I need more time. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the Christmas, making a list. Maybe you need to tell your spouse, your mate, that here's what I need. Because she tells me I need more hugs or I need more time. She'll tell me. Then I can give it. And that's where we have that great relationship. I don't mind, you know, we don't want your spouse or your mate or to get offended when you tell them something that you want. Please, spouses, mates, don't get offended. All they're doing is speaking from their heart, telling you what they desire, telling you what they need to make a great relationship.
So many people get offended because you might say, well, it also depends on how we say it. Because if you're telling your spouse all the time, you're never home, well, you don't never help around the house, they're going to go on attack and be offended because you're talking about what they never do, right? Because they know they're home because they sleep there and they come home from work. But the right way to do it is say, babe, I need you to spend more time with me on Friday nights. Or,
babe, do you think you can find it in your heart for us to spend more time together?
In your heart, okay. Most people ain't gonna talk like that, but
right,
okay.
Fine. Baby,
you ain't even gonna talk like that. But babe, do you think you can find
some
time for us
to spend together?
To spend together. Yeah. Like, you know, when is a good time on your schedule for us to have a date night? Like, ask them specifically or tell them specifically what you want.
Yes.
But if you say you ain't never home, you're always out in the streets,
we don't never spend time together, what you be doing? You know?
All they're gonna do here is you fussing and you feel like you're bickering, you're bitter, you're angry. Versus if you say it in a different way, they can really hear what you're saying, understand, and maybe be more receptive. So if you've been wanting your spouse to spend more time with you and they're not, think about how you're saying it to them and turn it around to a different way. Yeah. All right, you guys. So today we've talked about generosity. How, you know, are you generous in giving to your spouse? We talked about giving to the community and giving to your spouse, whether that's your time or some type of service. Yeah, whatever they need. We talked about being grateful for what you do have and letting your spouse know that you're grateful for the things that they do or say. And then we talked about grandma's cooking. We talked about, you know, what we're going to eat or cook or do for
Thanksgiving. Traditions that you carry on.
Traditions that we carry on for
from
Thanksgiving.
Your mother or grandmother.
And if you don't have any traditions for Thanksgiving,
start some.
Create some.
Yes.
You know, those are things that help your family to stay connected. It creates memories. It gives you things to look forward to every year.
Because I know when we got married, and we'll probably get into that closer to Christmas, a tradition we started Christmas time. Right. And that's something we started, and now we look forward to it.
Yeah. And then once I started that tradition of
burning the blueberry muffins
for the holidays, I stick with it. And there's other things we do too, like we usually cook the same breakfast as the Thanksgiving. You know, we cook a special breakfast. I try to make my family like frittatas or, you know, or pancakes. Banana nut pancakes is one of my favorites. I might do blueberry pancakes this year.
But it's good that, you know, you start a tradition or start something new so your family can look. The thing is that your spouse and your family, they'll start looking forward to it. Babe, are you going to do this holiday? Or are you going to make this? You know, they'll start looking forward to it. And that's that anticipation that builds up, that starts that love.
Yeah. So just to let you guys know, you know, we're going to be having a new format in 2023. We are lining up our guests. We're going to have more guests in 2023. We're going to have these little videos that we show called What Would You Do?, where we will share a scenario with you and we ask for your feedback.
How would you handle that situation? And then what would you do in that situation if that situation came up in your marriage or your relationship?
And we don't give our solution until the next episode. Right. So we'll come back that next week and share the follow-up video that gives you we're acting it out, y'all. Like, we're acting out these scenarios in these videos. And so we'll share the scenario of us, maybe us arguing about a different topic or something that happens in a couple's relationship. And we'll ask at the end, we'll ask you, how would you handle it? Then the next week we'll come back and we'll act out the solution to that video after we share some of the suggestions that you guys give. So it's going to be way more interactive in 2023. If you're interested in being a guest on here, you know, you got something to share, reach out, let us know. But yeah, and we're going to have things like Song of the Month, Joke of the Month, just a few things we're going to be doing on the show. So we're setting up our new format and pre-recording some things so that it'll be a little bit more interactive and juicy, a little bit more juicy next year. So let us know if there's something that you'd like to see us do on Pillow Talk with the Greens. You know, this show is all about, you know how the morning after, or, you know, when you're laying in the bed with your boo and you're just talking that sweet talk, or, you know, a lot of times you feel more confident to ask your spouse a certain thing while you're laying in the bed, you know, head on their shoulder.
Or you may talk or ask a question that you wouldn't do during the normal day. Yeah. You only ask it during maybe that time.
Yeah, when you're relaxing. So that's what Pillow Talk is all about. Sometimes talking about those juicy discussions, sometimes those hard discussions. But we want to know, what would you like us to discuss in 2023 on this show? We're open. Hey, and our life is an open book. So let us know, post it in the chat, some topics you'd like to see us talk about next year. And if you would like to be a guest on the show next year, even if you're watching a replay. And don't forget, hit the share button. If you're watching live, if you're watching the replay, hit the share button and share this out. Because as we always say, there's people out there who need this information, that don't know about this show, don't know anything about
us. And it could strengthen their relationship on some of the things that we talk about. Yeah. Like we talked about being grateful. We talked about giving. We talk about starting traditions. You know, we talk about being generous, you know, doing certain things for your spouse. That helps build a strong relationship when you start doing some of those things.
Right. And a lot of couples don't think about creating traditions for the holidays. And holidays are tough for some couples. They've lost a family member. They've lost a mom, a grandma, a child, even a spouse. This is a tough time for a lot of people. Right. And so when you start telling them to start looking at what they are grateful for, look at what you do have versus always looking at what you don't have.
That's right.
So thank you guys for joining us today, watching the show. And remember,
if you build it, it will last. And we'll see you next time.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Go out and have a great one.